So, Colton, welcome to Higher Ground on Washington Times. I've got to ask you, I want to get right into just the roots of your music because you're an incredibly talented musician. I know you started early on, I believe, with piano, but take
Yeah.
us through when you first realized that you could sing too.
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy story. I grew up in church, so I was always around music but yeah, I started taking piano when I was like 7 or 8 years old. And at 12 or 13, I was at a piano recital. My teacher was always stretching me to do other things, musically. And I show up to the recital, was going to play I Can Only Imagine by Mercy Me, still one of my favorites. And he set up a microphone and was basically like, "You're going to sing it too. I know you can." He believed in me when I didn't. I was terrified. No 13-year-old kid wants to sing publicly for good reason.
And when you haven't, and
Uh,
when you haven't really done maybe a ton of it, right? Like when you haven't,
no,
yeah,
I
yeah.
never sang in public before ever. So I get out there and I sing, and whether it was good or not is kind of be, beyond the point. The point is, man, I really just feel like I encountered Holy Spirit for the first time. And he just kind of showed me that music was going to be a tool in my life to reach people, and of course, had no idea what that was going to look like, had zero inclination that he would have taken me from there to where I am today. But uh, yeah, just a really cool encounter that I had at 13 years old, and it just kind of gave me um, the gasoline, so to speak, to point myself in the right direction of music. And yeah,
Yeah, well, it's
that's kind of the
incredible when
beginning.
God puts that in you and early on, you feel it. And like you were saying, you had no idea what that journey was going to look like. But obviously, the first sort of big benchmark that was very public on that journey that people know about was American Idol. And I've got to ask
Right.
you because that
Yeah.
there's nothing more terrifying to me than the idea of going and auditioning for American Idol. So what was it that made you say, I'm going to go and try this?
Man, I owe my sister a lot of credit. So my family and I watched since we were young. We loved it as a family, and my sister really wanted to go. So we went to Bridgestone Arena in Nashville and waited outside with thousands of people. And I was just there just to kind of see what it was about, but I wasn't going to try out. It was her thing. She's like, "This is so dumb. You're here. Why, like, why would you not just sing? The worst they could say is no." And then you've got, you'll know. It's like, okay, you're right. And lo and behold, we tried out, we both made it. She got cut in Hollywood Week and kept going, and that turned into another year of Idol. Similar situation. Um, was going to let her do her thing and got roped back into it again for another year. And it was just a wild journey. But yes, man, singing, I think singing a cappella in general, it's the worst. No offense, Church of Christ folk out there. My high school was Church of Christ. It can be beautiful, but on your own, singing a cappella, whether it's the national anthem or auditioning for American Idol, the scariest, most intimidating thing as a singer,
Well,
bar none.
it's crazy that you were there for moral support essentially, and that your sister encouraged you. Because you think about, like, what if you had said no? What if you had said, "I'm not going to go on the show. I'm not going to do the audition." Like, how your life could look incredibly different than it does right now.
Yeah, it's kind of scary to think about. Honestly, it's like, man, like I don't know if God would have used a different avenue or if I just would have missed out on what this looks like. I don't know. But if that was the case and that was the opportunity, it's like, wow, like so much hinged on that. Like
Yeah, yeah.
even me meeting my wife, we met in California. Like just all of those things are hinged around that decision to say yes and do Idol. Or so it seems. So it's
Yeah.
wild to think that's how life works sometimes.
How did, it's interesting because, you grew up in a Christian home, right? You weren't,
Yeah.
I'm assuming you weren't exposed to all the things of the world, but when you have fame and when you're brought onto a show like American Idol, that obviously is such an incredibly popular show, there are things that are brought into your life, new realizations, things you experience. How did you process that while you were on the show, coming from your upbringing into, oh, wow, now I'm on a national stage, millions of people are watching me. Like, just how did you process that?
Man, I don't know that anyone handles that like perfect. Like I don't know that that exists. Um, I'm so thankful for my upbringing and just having somewhat of a moral compass. You know, yeah, I was really thankful for the people around me, even apart from my folks, my youth pastor and friends who just would encourage me to stay the course and to not even bend. But what was so cool about that time is I had that conversation with God. I'm like, man, this is what a cool opportunity it is to tell people about you. Like, I would love to do that. Like, this is your time, you know, just as much as it is my time. Like, what can I do? And I just felt so strong. God say, like, don't bring it up. I'll present the opportunities, but um, let them ask the questions. Just be different and be set apart, and the questions will come. And I just thought that was so interesting and so counter church culture and how I was raised. Right, so much of church culture is uh, unfortunately can be judgmental, and it could be kind of hypocritical. And I love the church, and we're a part of a church, but I feel like we fall short in we fall short in every area. Thank God for
Humans ruin
grace.
everything. Humans ruin everything, right? I mean, we are
For
seeing
sure, we do. I always say I'm so bummed that people see God through the filter of Christians, right? Because we're just human. Like, we're
yeah.
not going to get it right most of the time. But on Idol, I just saw it as an opportunity to live differently and to either not go out after the show. You know, well, our going out was Cheesecake Factory, so nothing too crazy. But yeah, just it was wild to see those opportunities present themselves. And I'm thankful that, again, I had the upbringing and had that conversation with God, just saying, hey, just live like you know to live, and the questions will come.
Yeah,
Super cool.
I think the assumption is that we have to always say it over and over and over again, right? That we have to be the ones to push it out there. But I love that God spoke to you in that way, because how we live can send that message, right? And that, you know, preaching the word to everybody, it shows up in different ways. And so you live that out. You've shown people that. Now, what's interesting to me is when you finished American Idol, you obviously had, you know, a major platform, right?
Yeah.
And you had a choice to make. You could have gone out and said, you know what, I'm going to go do secular music. Like, here I am, I can move from here. You made not only, I think, a very pointed decision, but it was one that really has paid off. I assume the Lord led you, but what really sort of pushed you in that direction of saying, I'm going to go faith based, I'm going to move in this direction for my career?
You know, it's so fun. I get this question a lot, and I grew up with Christian music, and that's where I wanted to go. But I assumed before, talking it out with Big Man, that since I was on Idol, that it was going to be doors to go more of a mainstream route and just to be a light in a dark place. That's just what I thought it was going to go. Um, while still loving Christian music, but it's always important to ask. You know, God says, knock and the door will be open, ask and you shall find. And I asked him, like, all right, what do you want me to do? And I just I felt really strong that Christian music was going to be home base for me. And I'm so thankful because, like I said, it's what I grew up with. What's so funny now is full circle. I'm now signed to a mainstream label,
Right.
which is so like funny how God works. But now more opportunities have been opened to things outside of church people, which I have a huge heart for. Like, I just love people, and I want people to know that, hey, like, every day there's a new opportunity for mercy and for grace, and every day is a blank page. Like, it's okay. Like, it's never too late to find out like what the truth is, and would love to play a part in that story. But yeah, it's kind of funny how that came full circle for me 10 years later. Yeah.
Yeah, and your message hasn't changed. I mean, your lyrics are incredible. The music points people toward the Lord. And what's so amazing about that is just that, again, you're in this secular, label, but you're still giving the same message. And so that's pretty cool to see. What are you hoping people take away from this EP?
Yeah, man, I hope is the like overarching thing from the EP. I hit on this topic a lot, but the EP starts with a song called "Build a Boat," which just talks about having faith in the dry seasons, like having faith even before you see the outcome that we're hoping for. And then it ends with a song of empowerment. It's called Unbreakable. And it's just like, man, like I've been through some tough stuff, but I'm still standing. So if that's not going to not knock me out, then full steam ahead. Let's take on life. And, it's a journey, and it's my personal journey. And, I hope people resonate with that. And it's been so cool to see people resonate with track number one, Build a Boat. And I hope that just continues through the whole EP.
Well, Colton Dixon, appreciate your time. Again, the EP is Canvas, and we'll have you back sometime soon.
Man, looking forward to it already. Thanks, bud.